So we are at the end of a panel discussion, which was definitely heavy-weighted, and on the panel was Dr. Kaberuka, and one of the questions that was asked around Africa was around de-dollarization. You said on the stage that you could never expand it too much, but I'm giving you some time now to elaborate on that, because I know it's a key point that keeps being brought up. So.
No, what I said was that at the end of World War II, there was only one country with a huge surpluses. It was the US.
Yes.
Other countries were bankrupt. And so the US dollar was dominant until 1972 when they devalued the dollar because they had gone into deficit. Okay? But because of the confidence people have in the dollar, it has continued to dominate.
Right.
Now, I teased the audience that
said
to think the
US dollar will disappear, it's like expecting the English language to disappear.
It happens very slowly.
Yeah.
So gradually, a few other currencies will come up, beginning with, I think, the near dollar currencies, those which resemble the dollar but are not the dollar.
Sure.
Canadian dollar, Australian, New Zealand, but none of them is big enough. And over time, other currencies will arise.
Yes.
As people take the risk.
Sure.
So currencies will coexist. But I still expect for some time the dollar to dominate because of the share of the US.
And what is your thought on some of the African countries that are backing their currencies on gold instead of the US dollar?
So the gold standard,
yes,
which was in place up to the early last century, was abandoned for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was hampering global trade. There's not enough gold around. Okay? So then you had what technically you can call paper gold, which was sterling in the first instance, and then the dollar.
Right.
So if you go back to the gold standard, given the limitations of amount of gold in the world, it will limit the global trade. Right? Means you can issue currency only in function of the gold we have.
Right.
So that would be very limited.
So in essence, it's not a futuristic plan.
Yeah. And this is why SDRs were created.
Yeah.
SDRs were created to try and provide additional liquidity.
Right.
Because gold was not enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think we have to be realistic. That what we need in Africa is to steadily ensure that some of our currencies can play the role.
Become stronger. Yeah, you did mention you want to see some of the African countries competing at the level of the international currencies.
I mean, the rand could have been international currency.
Yeah. Now it's at 19 to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Egyptian pound could have become.
Yeah.
But that is a function of what we do in our country.
Sure, sure. And in terms of our practices and our relationships with the countries we're doing business with, this was also asked. Are we doing business with the right countries for our betterment?
So, my own view is that contrary to what people think, actually intra-African trade has been growing very well. Right. If you look at the Eastern African region, where I come from, actually intra-regional trade had risen to about 24%. Right. Which is almost what they do in the Asian region. Now, in some other parts of Africa, like North Africa, is very low, less than 3%.
It is.
So the average in Africa tends to come down to about 6%. Right. Yeah. So my view is that it's not about tariffs. It's more about policy. It's more about movement of people, payment systems. It's more about some of these non-tariff restrictions. Sure, sure. Yeah. But this one you have the safety. Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you very much. My pleasure. Love to meet you again, and wish you all the best for the rest of the conference, and thank you for always being present for Africa's discussions. Same to you. Dr. Kaberuka, thank you.